This is the Whatever You
Say podcast.
This is the Whatever You
Say podcast.
I don't think it's white folks. I think it's Negroes. I do not think this is white folks. It could be. It could be white folks. But I think it's Negroes. I think a Negro did this.
This is the Whatever You Say podcast.
Check 1 2. Is this thing on? Welcome back to another go round and another sit down in the Whatever You Say studios. This is the Whatever You Say podcast. I'm Ivory Towns, doing what I do, man. Trying to put a spotlight on the city. You know, showcasing some of the movers and shakers out here. Some names you know, OKC, just doing my part. It's a podcast for the people. This is, I always say, this is a platform of purposeful and senseless education and entertainment. We're going to do our best to provide what we can. Shout out to our sponsors, bball Alto. Check them out on IG, cibo.alto. Some of the finest in all your infused cuisines, food, snacks, meals, and all that good stuff. You know, if you know, you know, huh?
If you know, you know.
And one time for my folks, the family-owned business, the great Covington Heat and Air. 20 years of knowledge in the game. You know, this weather's changing right now. Perfect time to get that unit looked at and updated. Covington Heat and Air. We're going to hear from them a little bit later on. But listen, Oak City Hoopers, I need your attention on this one. Stand up on this one. OKC basketball standout sitting right in front of me. We pulled out the camera on this one. We had to do it, man. All right, so I ain't going to waste no time. If you know, you know. If you in them gyms in the 80s and the 90s, you know what this dude done did for the city, man. And step up a notch at the next level, too, when it came to D1 hoops, man. And he's doing something special for the city, bringing a camp back to the town. Something I've always asked, why don't more Oklahoma athletes do? We're going to pick his brain a little bit and talk about that and much more. Welcome to the Whatever You Say studios. Former John Marshall Bear. Former Oak State Cowboy. Mr. Joe Adkins. What's going on, Joe?
What's up? Come on.
Come on, man. Thanks for giving me some time, man. How we been?
Man, I appreciate you having me, man. I always love. I appreciate what you're doing for the city, man. It's an honor to be here and blessed.
No doubt. I appreciate it, man. And you know what? It's a crazy time. This right here edition is for our partner, Chris Haywood.
For sure.
No doubt. You knew
For
Chris
sure.
Haywood.
Yeah, for sure.
I went to school with Chris Haywood.
Yeah.
Nice dude, big dude. Always had a big smile on his face, right?
Yeah.
Always did for the homies, man. Was always there if you needed them. I didn't hang out with him tough like that, but every time I saw him, it was all love.
It always was. Anybody who
Always.
know Chris, I don't know if he had any enemies, bro.
Yeah, right.
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Like, he was just one of
Right.
those dudes. Like, you might see him with a set of people over here one day.
Yeah.
You might see him over here with some hoopers the next day. It might be a couple of gangbangers. You might
Yeah.
be anybody.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
that's what that just kind of shows how versatile he was and just how cool he was. You know what I'm saying?
If you had a problem with Seawood, there's something wrong with you.
Yeah, definitely.
It was one of
'Cause I
them
know
things.
it wasn't nothing with him.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So,
Right.
if prayers to his family, his wife and everything, his family, his mother, all that, his friends. Definitely hurt the city. You know, a lot of people been saddened by this, but Seawood looking down on us
No
though.
doubt, man. No doubt. I know we got had 2 little girls.
Yeah,
I think that's what it was.
yeah,
Heart goes out to them. I wasn't aware that he was fighting his health like that.
yeah,
With the
yeah. A lot of
cancer.
people didn't know, and that's just kind of how he was. And
Yeah.
you really had to know him to actually know that, because if you talk to him, they would say that you couldn't tell because he was always still upbeat.
Right.
But that's, if you know Seawood, that's just how he was. So it doesn't surprise me that he was like that. But yeah, it definitely, a lot of people kind of knew this day was coming, and you always pray that the Lord lets it keep going and last another day. But the Lord always calls it soldiers. So
Yeah.
Seawood is definitely a soldier, and one that we gonna miss greatly.
One of them things where it's like, all right, man, you did enough here.
Yeah.
You've touched enough lives. You've influenced enough down
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Go up there. So rest in peace, man, to our partner Chris Haywood, man. I was devastated when I heard that news yesterday. Of course, through social media. You know what I mean?
Man, you can get it all
Whatever
through
you
that.
say.
And so we both knew Haywood, man, and our heart goes out to him and his family. One thing you didn't know, man, and the other half of this in remembrance of, as far as who we're going to donate this episode to, my stepfather passed 12th, October 12th. Biggest Old State fan I knew. The reason I was an Old State fan
That's what's up.
took me to games as a youngster. I'm talking Randy Rutherford days.
Yeah.
I'm
yeah.
talking Byron Houston days.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Come on.
Early Eddie Sutton.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So
Big Perm Eddie.
Big Perm Eddie. Big Perm. You hear me? Nah, man. I mean, so I'm gonna dedicate this episode to him too, and he would have loved the fact that I'm sitting here getting
That's
to
what's
interview
up.
him. I had Scott Wright in here, the writer for the Oklahoman.
Yeah.
We talked a lot of OSU stuff with him, and he would have got a kick out of the fact that I would have asked him to give me all type of questions to ask you that he wanted to know, and I did that. Some folks listen. It was only out there for a minute because I killed it after a while. I put some questions out there of some folks who knew you and knew about your game and your history here in Oklahoma.
Yeah.
And I got some questions for you. We'll get to that a little later on. So, but rest in peace to Chris Haywood and my stepfather Frank Wall, the guy who made me an OSU fan. The reason my kids are at OSU right now.
Straight up.
So
Come on.
it's crazy how it happened like that, man. But let's talk about that, man. Basketball
Whatever
was the
you
calling
say.
for
Whatever
you.
you say. Whatever you say.
When we start hooping, man, how early?
Man, I probably started officially officially at 5, but I was playing like when I was 2, 3,
Yeah.
and when I say playing, it was my sisters are so much older. They're like 15 years older than me.
Oh,
So
okay.
when I was born, when I was little, they were in high school.
Yeah.
So I was like 2 years old running around. So I was like the halftime entertainment every
Okay.
game,
Okay.
So I was actually shooting on a 10-foot goal when I was like 2. Like I could get it up there. So you know what I'm saying? So a lot of people know me just because of my sisters and how good they were. And I was always the little boy that was just running around at 2 or 3 years old, playing at halftime.
What
so
school they go to?
they went to John. They started at Northeast. They won a state championship. Then my dad and the coach got into it their sophomore season, and my sister they transferred to John Marshall.
Ah, okay.
And then at John Marshall, they never won it. They lost 3 years in a row. They got runner up. So, you know what I'm saying? They win the state finals every year, but of course they both ran track as well. So.
Right.
State champion in track every year, so that legends of their own. Really, that's where it all started. It was with them.
They set the tone.
Yeah, no
Pop-
doubt.
Pops beefing with the coach set the tone.
Yeah. I mean, that's what it was.
Yeah.
They had just won state as freshmen. They were like 7-0. My sister was averaging like 35 or something.
Damn.
And I don't know, something happened where he got mad. My dad got mad. Him and the coach got into it. My dad was like, they had a meeting. After the meeting, my dad sent them to John Marshall. It actually was really the first case where you had of hardship. It was kind of how the rule came about. It's
Really?
because Northeast, they actually sued my parents, so they couldn't play. So that's when the board got involved and started making you have to do the things that you really have to do now.
See there? What
Yeah.
did I say?
Yeah, so-
Education and entertainment, folks.
Yeah, they were pretty much the first ones.
That's
like,
some history right there. I
Yeah,
had no
so-
clue.
Yeah, the Adkins sisters. So
I had
they
no clue, huh?
So Northeast had sued them, and they actually won. So my sisters had to sit out the remainder of that season, and they didn't get to play into the next year.
Damn.
Yeah, so they started
That's
the year.
wild.
Northeast played the first semester, and then the second semester they didn't get to play at John Marshall.
Yeah.
But then the next 2 years they played and went to the state finals and lost both times. But
Damn.
yeah, that's what happened. Yeah, and
That's
people-
crazy.
the old schools know that story. They'll be like,
Yeah.
yeah, that's what happened.
You're
That's what
welcome, John Marshall.
happened. No doubt.
Got a present
No
coming through the door.
doubt. No doubt.
And then here come little brother kicking the door down.
Yeah.
That's crazy. I didn't know that story.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So I mean, like, I wonder. I mean, shit, take me back. I wonder if did the sisters kind of have a chip on their shoulder and couldn't wait to get out there. Did y'all play Northeast again?
Oh, they definitely played them. They used to play them because
Got-
they win the conference. So,
got
yeah.
loose.
Oh, they got, yeah. I mean, my sister both my sisters went to Kansas in basketball. So when I grew up, I was a Kansas fan just because that's all I knew.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? That like the same little kid watching high school. I'm 5'4", 5'6". I'm in Lawrence, you know, so all I knew was Jayhawk basketball.
Yeah.
My brother-in-law went to Kansas, so that's all I knew. So I never was even an Oklahoma or Oklahoma State fan. I actually didn't like them at all. I mean, I was just all rock chalk
KU
Jayhawk.
fan, you can't.
Yeah. So that's really what it was. So yeah, they definitely. I mean, anybody, the historians, they definitely know who my sisters are. I mean, Vicky, my oldest sister, they're actually a year apart, but they graduated together. One of my sister, my younger sister, she had enough credits, so she just graduated early. Yeah. And my older sister, she just passed in 21. So that was a huge deal to lose my big sister. And I always say she really was the best person. My whole family went Division I in basketball. Like everybody, my nephews, after me, everybody. And I still say one made the NBA. Xavier Henry, he made the NBA, and I still say my sister is probably the best one of us all. Everybody. You know what I'm saying? She was the true bucket, as they would say now. Yeah. Like, she really taught me, like, you know, most people, dudes taught them. My sisters actually taught me how to play, the foundation, the fundamentals of it. It was both my sisters. And that's different.
It's very
you know
different.
what I'm saying? Yeah.
It's very different.
So my sisters definitely were the ones that really put that in me and made me who I was. Because they were so much older, they made me tougher, too. They beat me, you know. 10, 15 years, I'm the little kid running around. They beat me up. They tie me up with the socks. You know what I'm saying? They doing all kind of stuff to me. You know what I'm saying? But they definitely was ones that put the battery in my back and created what they did. And I'm forever grateful for them. And I always tell people that, you know, it was 2 women that made me who I was, including 3 with my mother as well. But my 2 sisters are the ones that really taught me and introduced me to the game.
And look what the WNBA doing right now.
Man,
You think your sister was born in the wrong era?
No doubt.
Wrong era, huh?
Oh, yeah, no doubt. I mean, my oldest sister, like I said, not only did she, you know, she averaged 35 here in the city when she went to Kansas. Right now, she's still 4th in all-time leading scorer, so she's still right there. She was 2 when she left, and here we are 30 years later. Yeah. She's only down to 4, so, and that was no 3, and she didn't even shoot threes then. So, you know what I'm saying? She was definitely like that. For sure.
Well, we know you was like that, man. That
I appreciate
that jumper was pretty wet on that came out the end of your arm, man. I didn't know Xavier Henry was your nephew. Mm-hmm. Yes. I remember I was talking to, I had Mike Kinney in here, a sports writer, freelance sports writer, and Myron Patton. You know, he just won the Hall of Fame. Yes. Journalist Hall of Fame earlier this year. Adam Francisco. I mean, I've been asking some cats who know about some hoop, know about some game, you know, been around here for a while. And your name popped up. Like, who's some of the best high school players you came up that you ever see? Your name popped up. Xavier Henry name popped up. Yeah. Of course, Stevie Clark.
Of course.
Trey Adkins.
Yeah.
Estelle Laster.
Estelle, yeah.
That was, you know, and then I asked, when I was talking to Myron, he was going all the way back to Mark Price and, you know what I'm saying, and what do you say, Chu Kennedy, you know what I'm saying, at OU. And Estelle Laster's name came up, of course, and that was my era. That was when I was a young buck coming in as a freshman at Douglas. Mm-hmm. It was you and Estelle. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? That was the big matchup. I remember going to a big tournament at McGinnis. Yeah. Standing room only. Yeah. You and Estelle, John Marshall Northwest closed the night out. What you remember about those days, man? And who were some of the tougher matchups that you remember back then?
I remember everything.
Say it all.
Everything.
Like
I remember it all. Yeah. I remember all that. I mean, because at that time, you know, when me and Estelle, when we came on the scene, that was the 92, it wasn't many in Oklahoma City. There wasn't many freshmen that had started.
Right. That was a
like,
big thing.
Just period.
That was
like,
a big thing.
I mean, I know for a fact I was the first one. My high school coach started, and he was legendary, and he had great players. Don Piccolo, his coach as well, but they had never started freshmen before. I don't know if anyone had ever did it. Maybe some girls, it had happened. Well, I know it did in women's basketball and girls basketball. But as far as boys, I don't know if it had ever happened. It probably has, and I'm sure somebody will say something, but it just wasn't a thing then. And for us to not only start But to perform at the level we did,
Yeah.
it just made the city was crazy. It was like a gang. You know what I'm saying? It was either they was hollering stale over here, they hollering Joe. Like it was truly like it was like truly a gang, a rival of sides of town, of who's who.
It was.
It was crazy. But the crazy thing was, me and Stell were actually friends. We used to work out together.
I was about to say, did y'all know each other? Hang out
Yeah,
and
we
hoop with
worked
each
out
other?
together. We
Right.
literally, like, Stell had a car before I did. He would literally come get me, and we would go to the gym together.
Right.
All while this was going on, people would still be,
Right.
we come in the gym together, they would still start that. Like,
Right.
whoop, it's you and it.
Yeah.
It would happen all the time. So, for me, it was just, it always kept me right because he was the one person that was always right there. So I always had a guy where when I was working, I knew what I was coming at. I knew what was coming for me because I'm with him. So I see it. I know
Right.
what's going to happen. So it always kept me motivated. And he was the same way, you know, like personally, we never really said it, but I enjoyed it the most. But man, it was because we were friends. I was more competitive, made sure I wanted to win. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
So
And you usually had the better team. John
the
Marshall.
first 2 years he
Yeah.
had the better team, and then my last two I had the better team.
Yeah.
So we split. I think we ended up playing more times my last 2 years, but
Whatever
his
you
first
say.
2 years they beat us. They beat us every time in close games. We always played close games,
Right.
but that his first couple years they were better.
Was that your toughest competition?
Here, yeah, it would be Stell. But you
in
know,
those days?
the thing is though, the city wasn't like it is now.
They're all over the place now, boy.
Now the city goes to all the suburban schools.
Yeah.
Those suburban parents now were in the city.
Yeah.
Those kids that can play, their dads and moms could play. So but they went to Oklahoma City public schools. So everybody had somebody. You didn't have schools that didn't have anybody. Like
Yeah.
it wasn't like it's been over the past few years, or probably past 15 years, where Douglas has basically dominated it. Now you have Millwood. They've come back now. They winning state championships again. But for almost a decade, Douglas, I don't know if they lost to anybody in the city.
Right.
You know, so it wasn't quite like that. You had teams that were that were dominant, but everybody could beat everybody any given night. Whereas now, it's a little more stacked. As in where Douglas and Millwood are pretty much the only city schools, and Millwood's not even a city school anymore.
Right.
That get the kids that are able to compete at a high level. The rest of them, a lot of them are just in the suburban schools, and that's what was different because back then I never would have thought it would be like this 25 years later or 30 years later where you have the majority of blacks are in the Edmond schools. You have a New Heights, Edmond, Santa Fe, and they got more blacks than whites on the team. Because that wasn't the case when we were in school.
Thing.
It would be all white. They have 3 or 4 brothers.
Yeah.
Norman, they'd have 2 or 3 or 4.
Black schools in the metro.
1 or 2.
Yeah.
All the brothers played in the city.
Yeah.
Like you really wasn't, Carlisle would have a couple, Midwest City, but it was different. So now when you look at it, Oklahoma basketball, it's weird because now all of us were really at the suburban schools, but that's who gets the attention.
Yeah.
So in a way, it's a good thing because you are able to get the attention, but because Oklahoma City, I don't think we ever got the full recognition that we deserved because we always had about 6 of our teams would go to state every year, and it was only 10 of us. So if you get over half your conference going, then it has to be legit, and coaches understood that, but I think media. Just maybe because it's the city, we know what it is. You know, things happen. They're not really coming over there. That's not really what they do now. Because my last 2 years we were so good, it did bring attention, and not only did it bring attention statewide, it did nationally. So it changed in that barometer. And I'll say this that, and I'm not really afraid to say it, and it's true when you look it up. 96 kind of changed Oklahoma basketball. That
was your year? Your graduating year?
Class of 96.
Uh-huh.
That year, it was myself, Estelle, Eton Thomas, Reza Stone, Eric Perry, some others. But us five, we actually went nationally and competed.
Mm-hmm.
Like me, I went to ABCD. That was Adidas.
All right.
It was me, myself, and Eric Perry. White kid out of Putnam City.
Whatever you say.
He ended up at Oral Roberts. He could hoop. Then it was Eton, Renzai. They went to Nike. All of us just happened to go from little old small Oklahoma, and we all performed well. So
Back then, that was invite only too, right?
oh, no doubt, yeah.
Now kids go to all the camps.
Yeah, no, it was invite only. They paid. Hey, you didn't need $1. They paid everything.
What that
They
feel
sent
like?
that plane ticket. Everything was paid for. They
What,
just
what was that? I remember watching Hoop Dreams and them talking about those camps.
I mean,
and
that's why I met. That's why I met Kobe.
Yeah.
Kobe's my year, so I
Yeah.
was there with him. I was there with Kobe. It was Kobe. Rip Hamilton was there.
that shit was like that.
Jermaine
shit was like,
O'Deal was there.
You celebrating like you.
Yeah, I mean, it was, bro. It was real. Like that's what woke me up and really helped me elevate to another level. Is because I saw that and was like,
Oh,
whoa,
oh,
it's some boys that's
Yeah.
really getting down. Like, and when I went, I mean, I held my own. I mean, I think I left. I think they ranked me like number 23.
yeah.
I should have been higher. Like I balled.
As
I did
far as
represent.
what, like by position?
No,
or?
it was like they ranked the whole camp. I was
Overall.
23.
Okay.
I was 23, but I was like, after I counted the dudes, because I knew who was who. I should have been like 16, 15 or 16. Because I was from Oklahoma. They didn't want to get it to me. I always say that. Like,
Out of how many kids? How many players?
Oh, it was ABCD. It was probably about 100, probably 200 max. But it's all 200 they invited. So
23. Hey,
200, yeah. I
Say
mean,
shooty shit.
you know,
they would give
you
you
know,
that Oklahoma
it
tag.
was like 6. Yeah, I believe so. I believe they did. Because really, when I was coming out, when I was being recruited, man, people was just like, man, we didn't even know to really play basketball in Oklahoma.
Right.
Like, y'all be playing?
Right.
Like, man, where y'all, you know, my AU team was so good. And my coach used to travel. So that helped me. I went to camp. That helped me. I performed well, but I worked extremely hard. And that class right there is what kind of allowed the country to know, because I had so many schools nationally, Big East, that were recruiting me. Eton, he ended up going to Syracuse, so he stayed in the Big East. Renzai, like, it was so many people being recruited that people started coming here. And I think that class, we actually signed the most Division Ones. I think we ended up with like 50-something that ended up playing Division I basketball for one class. In Oklahoma, 32 or something. It had never been done. Now there's been classes like the Tisdale class. You got him and Mark Price.
Right.
That's better because you just got them two.
Right.
But when you talk about from
Top
3
to
to
bottom.
3 to 40,
Yeah.
we got that.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So
They say that 96, 97, they say.
and then Hump was after that. Hump,
Yeah.
you know, the crazy thing is we played that summer in 96, and we went summer, we played well. We only lost 2 games that whole summer. We were in Vegas. We lost to Mike Bibby's team, ended our season. And that summer, after that summer, Hunt was the number 1 player in the country in his class. Because we were getting ready to be seniors. He was getting ready to be a junior. He was the number 1 junior in the country. So that's how we was repping out there. That Ryan Humphrey was number 1. Like,
Ryan Humphrey,
Yeah.
him and Eton, that was a problem.
yeah.
That was a problem.
I mean, it was. I mean, not to us, but it was to most people. You know what I'm saying? I gotta say that.
Hey, at Douglas, our big man Tim, bless his heart, he's 6'3".
Yeah.
You know, he's maybe 6'4".
He created a monster, though.
Hey, Tim was a problem.
Yeah.
He was I
Yeah.
mean, when you're 6'3", 6'4", you deal with Ryan Humphrey and Eton at 6'8", 6'10". He was strong as hell, and he can get up under their ass.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
No, Tim did his thing.
Yeah.
Tim definitely did his thing. Tim, Chad, all them boys over there, them Douglas boys. But
Tiny Mo, Trey
Tiny,
Davis,
yeah,
shout out, man.
Trey Davis, all them boys, man. Them my guys, Chip.
No doubt, Chip.
But yeah, they
It
Whatever you
wasn't a
say.
problem to y'all, though, huh?
I mean,
Who tell me this? it was you. Y'all had a three-headed monster out there, boy. It was you,
it's
Hurd,
myself, Tony Hurd, and Reggie Tate.
And Reggie
Yes,
Tate.
sir. Reggie Tate.
101. Who used to get busy when y'all three would go at it? Tell the truth.
Why?
Because I'm gonna tell you from the outside looking in, like you used to get the pub, right?
Yeah.
Joe's name was out there. He would get the pub. There was a little group that was out there that was like, but Tate though, Tate the nicest one, though.
Bro, listen.
Tate the nice one,
I
though.
don't even get into that, bro. You know what I'm saying? Tate is a baller. He is a baller.
Yeah.
Tony, he is a baller.
Hurt went overseas, didn't he?
Yeah, Tony. Yeah, I went to see. All three of us. Tony,
Yeah.
Reggie did. Reggie played some pro, so yeah, we all did. Like, yeah, I mean, that ain't for me to argue about. Shoot at my homie,
Right.
them are my bros. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying? Like, I've been knowing them since 12, 13. We've been playing on the same team. So,
Yeah.
all right, if you want to say that, that's cool. I'm not gonna.
Say whatever's clever.
Yeah,
man.
I ain't gonna beef with that. Because they were nice.
my
Without
work
them, we definitely wouldn't have been as successful. So.
I left my work on the court, man.
Yeah, I mean, so
Okay.
I'll say at the end of the day, I think it all worked for all of us. Put it like that.
No doubt.
I think we all benefited from each other. I mean, I benefited from them, especially on the court as far as like having other guys who could do things. You know,
Yeah.
so many times, unfortunately, it's high school. You ain't gonna have a team full of stars. So.
Yeah.
I just happened to I was blessed to have two guys that played at the same level as me and did the same things, and we were close friends. So we were able to. So it was never any jealousy. We never had an argument.
No.
We never had no jealousy. We never had none of that. Like we've never had that.
Back then, it was so much school love.
Yeah,
You were just repping your team.
Yeah,
It was your school and
we never did
you
that.
know, your side of town and whatever. But it was love back then. But you're right. It's a lot different now. A lot of metro kids, the inner city kids, they got to drive 30 minutes out somewhere, or they doing some charter school type,
Yeah,
at home stuff. I mean, but that's since the Great Reset, what I call the pandemic.
yeah.
Everything is
It's a little different. Most definitely.
I remember. You remember for a minute kids were playing games with masks on?
Yeah,
That was wild.
yeah,
That was a wild
Yeah.
time. Talking to Joe Adkins here, Oklahoma standout, bringing a camp back to Oklahoma City. And I'm glad you're doing this. I've been asking this for a while. I remember Gerald McCoy did, I think, a football camp a few years ago before he retired. Of course, you get the pro guys, Russell Westbrook. He's been doing this thing for a while, but not since he's left the Thunder. Why is that, man? Why don't we have more college pro standouts come back to the hometown? Because you might get that in their college town. That's kind of what happens. You get the guy you get the standout who does his thing in his hometown, go to the big time college, get to, new set of friends, new family, right? New obligations, new team, new location. And then if he goes pro, or even if he doesn't, usually he'll bring the camp back to his college town, not the hometown. Why do you think we don't have as much as we should here in Oklahoma?
I can't really speak. I can't say why. I don't,
Yeah.
because I really don't know.
Do you feel me on that? Am I off on that? Because hey, I don't know everything. That's somebody.
No, there's definitely been guys that have come back to do things for the city and have had things, but as far as just what I'm doing, everybody's had camp.
Right.
But mine, it's not really a camp. It's really an academy.
Okay.
So, and when I say that, it's not for 3 or 4 days. I hope it's for 3 or 4 years.
Nice.
And it's just skills, skill set training. Shooting is my specialty, so of course I'm gonna specialize in teaching the method and the art of shooting. But we're also gonna do things like it's not gonna be where we just come in there and we just throw the ball at the rim and shoot 1,000 shots.
Right.
We're not gonna do that. There's many ways to be able to shoot a basketball. You can catch and shoot it. You can shoot it off the bounce. There's gonna be many ways off the catch and making moves. So you're gonna do a little bit of everything. So it's gonna be basically the lab where we go like a chemist. You go in there and we mix it up. We mix it up
get in the lab.
Yeah, we go in there, we mix it up, and hopefully, and I'm sure with time, anybody, if they give me enough time, I'm definitely gonna make a kid better. I'm not gonna make any. I can't guarantee you I can make you an NBA star
Right.
or anything, because that's gonna be you and the work you put in. It's not just gonna be me. But if you want to do that, I'm with you. I'm down to do that. I ain't got no problem with that. Anybody that's willing to work and want to put that time in, you never gonna hear me fight that. I'm not gonna fight them.
Right.
So it's just me, my way of giving back and allowing the opportunity, being blessed to be in the situation where I am to give the opportunity to where I can give back. And, for me, it took so long because, basketball, that life for me, who I was then and who the person I am now is just a different person. So a lot of times I really don't talk about it a lot because I was a different person then. Like, I did carry myself a different type of way.
Right,
Because
right.
it was, for me, it was hunter be hunted. You know what I'm saying? So the way I carried myself was a complete different way than how I carry myself now. So for so long, I just had to get away from basketball for a little while and decompress from it and relax because I got angry at it because how it was and what it
Really?
is. The political statements, the political involvement in it and things, why people get this and who does that. You know what I'm saying? It's a game, and it's especially once you get to where you get out of college and you go pro, and even in college, this game, it just doesn't love you back. You know what I'm saying? No matter how much I love basketball, it didn't love me as much as I loved it.
Right.
And I don't know if it loves anybody as much as you love it. You know what I'm saying? So for a while, I just had to get away from it and really come back when I was ready with my mind open. Like, all right, now I'm ready to teach it and show them how to get not only like me, I want you to be better than me.
Right.
I can give you the skill set to be better than me. I was decent. I was cool. But I can make you better than me. But it's going to be work. It's not going to be given. And that's the thing. That's one thing everybody have to understand. You can come in there with me once a week if you want to. That's fine. I can make you a better player than what you were when you got to me. But I'm not going to make you the player that you want to be unless you didn't have very high expectations. Because
Right.
It takes the time in that lab. Like, that's why it's
Say a
called
little
the
more than
lab.
once a week.
Man, it takes way more than that. That's why it's called the lab. But chemist works every day. He don't just work once a day a week.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So if you want to do that and you want to get to that level where it's a level of work you have to, we all got, we got big city dreams sometimes, and you got a small town mind frame.
Mm-hmm.
Like, it's easy to say that's what I want to be. Yeah, we just talking. I can say I want to be
Right.
anything, but the work, what you willing to do to get to where you really want to be, because it's gonna be some sacrifice in that. Because to get to that and be there, hey, it's a lot of things that you gotta do, that you're gonna have to get away from. And now in today's world for the youngsters, man, it's worse than it was for me.
Right.
It was easier for me to go out and just hoop.
Right. Yeah.
They got a lot more distractions than what I had, though, bro. So when I talk about them, I talk about how they on their phones and what the things they do. But it's like I didn't have those things, so
Yeah.
I can't say if I would have done or I wouldn't.
Right.
I probably would have if that's what everybody else was doing.
Right.
I mean,
We know the mindset of a teenager.
man, yeah.
You know?
So I was one of those at one time. So now it's just trying to just show them and make the right decisions, the right choices, and knowing that everybody's gonna make mistakes. But it's not that one mistake. You always gonna be given a second chance. But if you want to dedicate your life to basketball, I'm the guy. I'm the guy to holler at for sure.
My man can make that happen. Well, glad that you back loving the game, man, and spreading that knowledge. Doing some looking up on you before this, I forgot that you coached at O State for a minute.
Yeah,
That you were assistant coach there for a minute.
yeah.
That last little piece of the great Eddie Sutton's
Oh yeah, I was there.
era right there.
The Final Four year.
Yeah.
The
with
Final
Lucas.
4 year. Mm-hmm.
I
John
remember-
Lucas, Tony Allen.
I remember
Yeah, I
that
was there
John
that year.
Lucas running over there, jumping in your arms.
Yeah, yeah.
Hell of a shot. Hell of
Yeah.
a moment in OSU history, man. What'd you learn from Eddie Sutton, man? Just in those few years as on the sideline as a coach. How much of that is coming to the lab?
A lot of it. A
Yeah.
lot. The attention to detail
Whatever you say.
is what you learn the most. The small things. Because when you get there, everybody's like you.
Nice. Yeah.
Everybody's
Yeah.
average 20, 30.
Yeah.
Everybody's done that. So you're not special in that manner. So it's just the attention to detail and the thing. And he was just hard nosed, bro. He was one of the mean old school coaches. Like that's what he was. He was an old school coach.
Right.
And when I was playing, the game was starting to evolve and change, and he wasn't necessarily ready to change and evolutionize because it was turning into a guards game rather than a big man's game. Mm-hmm. And it wasn't the fact that he could coach. He could coach, so you were gonna always win games with him because the man, he knew basketball.
Yeah.
But a lot of the things he taught me, it's just more of the little things, and it's not really. He never really taught me how to put it in the hole, like that. You know, you're born with that.
Yeah, you know how to do that.
But he taught me how to do it and why I do things.
When to do it.
When. About, you know, slowing the game, how to slow it down, how to see things before they happen. That was the most important thing. But in my time there as a coach, I kind of knew him, and he respected my mind as a basketball, even as a player. He knew I had an understanding for it. So when I came back, I had actually gotten hurt. I got hurt overseas, and I was coming back and I was rehabbing. And once I was doing my rehab, I was actually OU. It was when they first started doing all accesses.
Okay.
And they were doing OU basketball. But Kelvin was letting me come practice with them. He was like, yo, he had seen me at a tournament. He was like, hey, you want to come in and work out with our guys? It'll give us a real good look. And I know you trying to play. Why don't you just come down? So I started going down there. They showed it on ESPN. It was like, you know, all access.
All access, yeah.
I'm on there playing.
Eddie, like, what the hell going on?
They called me. No lie. The first time it aired, they called me. It's like, what you doing?
Right.
I'm like, yo, I'm doing it. Man, come up here. And I needed 8 hours to finish my school.
Yeah.
Man, come up here, you finishing your school. That's what you just do.
Why wasn't that that wasn't your first choice anyway? Or just
What's that?
Your first thought, if I need to work out, if I need some more hours to go back to those
Norman is so much closer.
Okay, yeah.
It's closer.
Yeah,
it's 20 minutes. It's 20 minutes. So, you know, that was just like, I drive there, I drive home.
Right.
Stillwater, man, that's a good 45, 50 minutes.
That's an hour. Yeah.
Not that I couldn't do it, but I was just Norman right there.
Right.
So that made him be like, oh, no, you're going to come back and finish school. You're going to do your rehab. I'm going to put you on the bench. And he basically just kind of, I helped him in so much in that year because we had played them in an exhibition game early in the season. Mm-hmm. And I had 35 on them. So when I came back and he put me on the staff, I was completely different from Coach now. Those players looked at me as still a player.
Right.
So when I talked, it was different.
Okay.
He used me as that voice because I knew what he wanted. I knew him. So it was easier for me to relay messages to him.
Yeah.
How I'm saying it to him and how they gonna take it than to how he might take it when he say it to him. And that year, bro, when I got there, Tony Allen, he was struggling. He averaged like 14, but he had these terrible percentages.
Right.
Like he was shooting like 14% from the free throw line. 19% or something.
Tony
I had
Allen
never heard
he
of
never
it.
could shoot anyway. But.
And so when I got there, the first thing I told him, because I knew the talent, how good he was, I was like, bro, you going to go to the NBA. I told him, I said, you going to go to the NBA. We just get in this gym every day.
Yeah.
And every night he was like, I bet. The first day I got there, that's the first thing I said. You going to the NBA? We just get in that lab. We got in the lab every day, bro. So I got there in like December. We got in the lab every day. Every day. Just working his reps. And it wasn't really that I made him a great shooter. I just made it to where you can make some. That's all you got to be able to do is make some. Right. You can't make none.
Just make them respect you a little bit.
But that's all we need. You need to show them you can do it. And the easiest thing I did was I made him a way better free throw shooter. And when I did that, that made his average jump up 5 points because he got fouled so much because how he could, even in the NBA, he can get to the basket on anybody.
To the rack.
Yeah, he get to the rack. So he was getting fouled a lot. He just couldn't make the free throws. So it got to where he could make the free throws. So now he averaging 19 instead of 14.
Right.
Now you look like Tony Allen, he Big 12 Player of the Year.
Yeah.
He and John Lucas. Tony wins the coaches and John wins the AP. You know, they split them.
Whatever you say.
And that was one of the funnest years because that's when I got around Coach and I realized he was a different person. The plane crash really changed him, though. You know, and I was I graduated the year before the plane crash. After the plane crash, he was a complete different coach.
You talk about the plane crash, talking about the crash that took down, was it 10 people all together?
Yeah. When you see
players,
10,
coaches,
managers, sports broadcasters, and one assistant. And one student assistant who played when I was there, and he was a student assistant that year, Jared Weiberg.
See, that shook up the program a little bit?
Man, that was really one of the toughest days. Like, death is hard, and you do, like, I've lost my grandmother, so, that one is hard. But, bro, when they call you and tell you 10 people, like, and I know those people. You
knew these people.
Like, I really know these people.
Yeah.
I did that same thing with them for 4 straight years.
Yeah.
Traveling on these planes, doing that same thing. Bro, it's a hurt that you just, man, I can't even explain it. Like, it's nothing you could say because, you you never think, especially like a school, like, man, we're schooling that happened.
Yeah.
Like, wow. You think of an airline, they got all these planes, but you got a school.
They got the best planes. They got the best
we got
equipment.
everything. We had everything. I mean, and it just happened. It was bound to happen. I mean, we had been on scary plane rides before. It just happened. So after that, though, it changed coach as a coach because, I think that was the first time he realized life was bigger than basketball.
Yeah.
I think, and, for all coaches that are really successful, you have to have something like that to happen before you realize it. I think the good coaches right now, they still don't think it's nothing to do but what they do. But for him, it made him a much better coach because it made him more of a player's coach.
More relatable.
He was very much more relatable. He cared about the kids more. Like, the way he treated them was way different than he ever treated us. Like, it was crazy. Like,
but you was sitting there kind of hating a little bit. Like,
a lot. I'd be like, bro, what?
Like, man, we'd be running for 30 minutes after that.
Like, it would be stuff just as simple as, they actually, my last year, we lost 7 games. They lost 5. But they won like 20. Boy, we went like 2 months without losing.
Right.
Like that team, they was rolling and we lost and then we ran away again.
Yeah.
Like we would like stuff we would do, coach would. For us, it was like this whole big deal. But for them, like I remember one time Tony was playing bad and we was in the middle of the game. Tony was just playing bad. Coach just looks at him like, Tony, you want a hug? I'm like, what? I'm like, bro, we would never see that.
And he really meant it too.
Yeah,
right?
he really meant it.
I'm gonna give you one right
he
now.
was dead ass, bro. And for us,
will that
with
help
me,
right now?
When we were in school, when we lost, bro, he didn't even speak to us.
Right.
Until practice.
Right.
You could literally walk down the same hallway as him.
Yeah.
Bro, he walked right by you. Without saying a word. You say good morning, coach. You acknowledge him. He doesn't acknowledge you.
Yeah.
That's what kind of man he was then. Yeah. But then to the man that after that happened, to in the middle of the huddle, give me a hug. And it made him a better coach because players started to enjoy playing for him because the knowledge was there. Yeah. It was just how he was giving you the knowledge. And once he did that, it just took that program to another level. But that also created the drinking. Yeah. So that's why all that happened. And that brought that demon back. And that was going on for a while, and that's where we got where we were.
Yeah,
so,
you
know what I'm saying? So that was actually although it was in the light, it was bright, and know, but in the dark, it was really tough on him, and he never really recovered from that. Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Because making those calls, bro, that's a call, man. I couldn't imagine having to call some families and tell them that
10 of them.
Boy, that's a lot of calls.
And these are he's a father. He's a grandfather.
Yeah.
These people around the same age as your family members. Some of your most beloved family members. So, now I know it was tough for him. I know it was tough for the whole program. And Let's fast forward now to Mike Boynton. I think he's a hell of a coach. He's getting a raw deal, and I'm wondering how long is that leash going to be? Does he get credit for putting up with this raw deal that he's had to deal with the
Whatever
first,
you say.
3-4 years?
We definitely caught a raw deal. And Mike, if you know Mike, you met Mike.
Yeah.
Once you meet Mike, man, A1 individual, just
Yeah.
a great dude, like a great person. You meet him, man, you like, man, that's a cool dude.
Yeah.
Super cool. I think the community loves him.
There's no doubt he can pull in the talent.
He brings in talent. Now, I think this year he lost a lot of his Oklahoma talent.
Yeah.
All of those guys left except for one. Bryce is still there. So that I think from the outside looking in, that makes you always be like, man, the hometown talent leave,
Yeah.
and that's a little weird
Yeah.
because you would think those would be the guys that stay. He's had success, but it's been rocky. He has some great wins, but he's had some super bad losses. And sometimes as a program, you just hope that people don't assume that Oklahoma State is what it once was.
Mm-hmm.
Sort of like Nebraska in football.
Yeah.
You know, you can think you're something and you believe you're something and you're just not that anymore. Oklahoma State, they're going to have talent and they're going to hit and miss. But having the one thing about Nebraska, they always have their people in there.
Mm-hmm.
And they take care of their own. Oklahoma State, they have a new president. And, you know, as you know, you change presidents.
Yeah.
The AD might be cool.
A lot of people up under you going to change, too.
A lot of people under you change. And it's not, that's just how this business goes. And,
Right.
and I think everybody understands that. So I think anytime you change ADs or presidents as a sport, you're going to have success. And immediate success a lot of times just because you're not their guy. Nobody, they didn't choose anybody here. So for them, everybody can be replaceable. And so for Mike, I think he needs to have a good year this year. They have a chance. They have a good opportunity. They have some talent. They're new. They have a lot of new guys. They're a little young, but they'll be okay. Like I said, they're gonna win some games. Hopefully, they just don't have those bad losses. You just want them to win the games you're supposed to win, and sneak a couple on the road in the Big 12 and win your home games, and that should get you 19 to 20 wins. You get that. With what the league is becoming and what it's going to become in the next couple years as far as basketball, with adding Arizona, you know, you add Houston this year, it's some smoke in here. So if he can sneak around 20, just even if you sneak in that NCAA tournament, that'll be a good deal for him. I think he needs that right now, just because it's not really he's doing a bad job. It's just the inconsistency. Yeah. I think that's one thing when you see his teams last year. They went on a streak. They won 5 in a row. They beat all the toughest teams in the league. They had that 5-game stretch. And then they lost 5 in a row.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and then they lost 5 in a row. So you just can't have that. And then they had some bad losses in the non-con last year. So I think it's brighter down there. He likes his team from talking to him. They have some new guys. Of course, their backcourt is back. They have the Oklahoma City kid or Midwest City, Dale City kid, Brandon Garrison. Tim's son.
Really?
Whatever you say.
Damn it, man.
Yeah.
That's Tim's son.
Yeah. Yeah.
Damn it, man. Okay. Damn it.
Yeah.
All right,
so,
Tim, I'm going to be reaching out. Some tickets.
Oh, yeah. Man. Yeah. So the future is bright. I just hope I hope he has enough success this year so he can coach those guys. Because, I mean, he's definitely getting better. And, you know, he's a young coach. This is his first head coaching job.
Yeah.
And he took it. No, he probably got it under some terms he probably didn't really want it. You don't want to get a job like that.
Yeah, he came in on some
you come in and then you get hit with the probation 4 days after you get really during the middle of the coaching search.
During the middle of the search, and it seemed like this thing has gone
on. He hired right when he got the job. The next day they got hit.
He got
with his assistant with Lamont. And Lamont, I know Lamont. I've been knowing Lamont. Lamont was one of the first guys I met on that staff. And Lamont is super cool, great dude. You know what I'm saying? And so you just don't know.
I mean, listen, some of this recruiting stuff, it's kind of like that's what everybody else is doing. It's one of those things.
Oh, no doubt.
what's legal, what's illegal, and those lines are kind of blurry. But it's, buying somebody a burger, giving somebody some money to take their girl to a movie or whatever you did, whatever they claiming you did, call somebody at the wrong time. It's quote unquote what everybody else does.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah.
So you know what I'm saying? I think that's how everybody operates. But the NCAA wanna act like this is.
Yeah, it's one of those deals where it's the elephant in the room. Everybody knows.
Right.
Everybody knows. Everybody has their way. And now, I mean, had it been 2 years later, it wouldn't even been a problem. The weirdest thing about it is that when you read it, it wasn't Kansas, what their violations were and what Oklahoma State's violations were. They tried to make them like they were the same. Yeah. But they were very different.
Very different.
For one, Kansas, this was a recruit, and they have Coach Self on the phone. Like, they have an actual conversation. They heard
audio footage.
Yeah, they have the phone call. Yeah. You literally had a phone call where he's talking, basically explaining the game of what's supposed to happen, what needs to happen. Whereas Oklahoma State, yes, it was some of that, but the footage that they actually got him on with the player that was already at Oklahoma State, they were trying to get him to stay in school. Yeah,
right, big difference.
Yeah.
Bill Self.
Yeah.
And then what tripped me out with it, when the feds told Bill, hey, Coach Self, we need your phone. He said no.
The phone. I don't even know where it's at.
He said no. I don't know.
No
Go
phone.
find it. Whatever.
I don't even know what phone you talking about.
And I was like, really? And that's where he go off. He gonna walk on that, huh?
Man,
ain't that a bit?
And as you see, they got it happened. They just closed. They basically walked.
No suspension. Didn't get suspended.
No postseason ban.
Nah.
They're forfeiting the games of that season. You think Kansas care if they forfeited the games? You already gave them the money. They made all the money they need to make off that. They ain't got to get none of that back. Yeah. They ain't got to get no revenue back. We just got to act like we didn't win those 30 games.
We sold all the popcorn that day.
Man, everything. All win.
We got it.
All win.
What went into your choice at O State coming out of high school?
Was only one thing.
I know you had a lot of choices.
It was only one deciding factor that in my recruitment, I had no plans of staying in state. I had made my mind up. I always wanted to go out of state.
You was leaving?
I was leaving. And my senior year, my girl got pregnant. So when my girl got pregnant, that was just it. Like, I was like, I ain't going nowhere. Like, okay. So it went from UConn, Arkansas, Oklahoma, and Oklahoma State, which I was really going to go to UConn, and if I didn't, I would have I would have chose Arkansas, and then whoever I liked out of the state schools. Yeah. Which was but I didn't really know I was going to school. I remember on a Friday, they called me. BBJ, Barberry Jr. called me. It was like, hey, how you doing?
Whatever you say.
The signing period had already started. And I had already said I was signing early. So they knew I was signing early, but nobody knew when. So it was like Friday, and I think signing day was over Tuesday. And he calls me, and he's like, hey, how you doing? I'm just like, hey, what's up? He's like, man, we hear you making a decision. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to make one here. He's like, well, when you think you're going to be ready? I'm like, I'll be ready next week. He's like, oh, okay, Monday, press conference at 9. I'm like, yo.
Right.
Like, oh, okay. So I'm like, all right. So I really didn't know where I was going to school until it was like Sunday night.
Really?
Yeah, I didn't know where I was going. Because I went to both schools last time. And really the pressure was on because when I told UConn that I wasn't coming, bro, they put the heat on me. Like, everybody called me. Bro, I talked to him. First, I talked to the assistant. I told him. As soon as he hung up, Jim Calhoun called me.
Okay, I was about to say, who was that?
Jim Calhoun called me.
Yeah.
So when Jim Calhoun called me, Allen. Yeah, they put Ray Allen on the phone. Like, it was crazy. Like, bro, I'm like, bro, y'all just don't know. So they were just trying to talk me out of don't sign. They were like, just come take a visit.
Yeah.
So they had made a rule. I hadn't passed the ACT yet. So I couldn't take visits officially.
Okay.
They said if I waited till the day after signing period, they were going to change the rules and let us take visits still. Mm-hmm. But I was like, I couldn't do that because I knew if I went, there was no way I was going to say no. So I was like, nah, I can't do that, coach. So I knew at the end of the day, it was going to come down to the state. And, of course, Tulsa was there, too, but they were still good. But, it was just Oklahoma State was the main attractions, of course, for whatever reason. So I just chose Old State.
So you knew UConn was going to put that he got game pressure on you.
Man, they was calling, bro.
Bring out the cheerleaders on.
Yeah. Hey, man. Hey, they
Speaking of Ray Allen, right?
Yeah, right, exactly. Yeah,
that's
they put
crazy.
some pressure on me. It was a crazy time because, I mean, then I was 17, bro. I was so confused because I really did want to go, but I knew I couldn't. You know what I'm saying? And
You don't think?
I mean, I could have.
See, like now,
I could have.
Now I've heard coaches like kind of making a way for the baby for a family member. Or
no
something.
doubt. Had I really let them know my situation,
yeah,
I'm sure they would have said they found a way to take care of whatever I needed to take care of.
Would have had y'all some kind of special dorm or something.
Yeah, I mean, they maybe. I'm sure they would have came up with something.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, because I never even told them what happened. I think I told them what happened finally right then, so they didn't know. I didn't give them a chance to really.
They know you had a baby on the way?
Yeah, to literally give them the chance because I know what was gonna happen.
Was it a boys in the hood situation like Ricky? He was scared he was gonna lose the scholarship. They knew he had a baby.
Nah, I mean, I didn't know. I knew they didn't care. I knew it wasn't about that. It wasn't nothing about that. Yeah, I wasn't the first. I wasn't the last. In fact, it's the same song for them. They've heard. That's why they would have been so comfortable letting me know what they would do for it.
Right.
And that was the deal. Because even when you talk about the state schools, I mean, that once I had told them what was going on, I mean, we can do this. There's things for you that we can do to help you.
Yeah.
But the thing is, I knew, like, my baby mother, like, bro, she would have been way in UConn. She, like, 18 years old, too. Pregnant, or have a baby. Our parents live in Oklahoma. Like, that just wasn't.
You just out there being just superstar, huh?
Oh, yeah, that wouldn't have worked. I know that wouldn't have worked. I know that.
Any questionable behavior from these schools that trying to get your attention?
Any questionable behavior? I don't call it questionable.
I feel you.
What?
It's all in the game.
Yeah, I mean,
you want my attention, right? You want my services, right?
Man, I mean,
now it's through the roof now.
Oh man, now all I do is think about what I would have done.
NIL. What Joe Adkins would have did with an NIL deal?
Man, I would have. Well, I would have.
Now they're talking about in high school.
You can. Oklahoma kids can get them. Oklahoma kids can get NIL deals right now. They can do it. And man, listen.
You know any? Have you?
I don't know many that have. I always just say the first ones that's gonna get it are gonna be whoever signs with OU and OSU. I just
basically,
huh? You know what I'm saying? Their lungs gonna look out. You know what I'm saying? I just say that just out of just kind of understanding what it is.
Whatever you say.
I would assume those are gonna be the first ones. I haven't heard of many, but there's gonna be some. We both, we know that there's gonna be some. So
when do the bags of money start? Like, if you is it a certain star level? If you're a 5-star, 4-star, or it just depend on the school?
I think every school can find a way to help you in some form.
Thinking of blue chips, when do the tractors and shit start?
It's not quite like that.
Yeah.
Let me say that. It's not quite like that. In some cases it can be, but the thing is, when you go into getting material things like that, tractors or the car, that stuff can get traced. That can get you tricked off.
Right.
Because eventually you run paperwork. You can get to the final destiny of the paperwork and who signed what or what happened. So I met Jerry Tarkanian one time.
Okay, the Shark.
The Shark. And
Rest in
this
peace.
is how he described recruiting. He said there's 3 types of players. There's paper sack players.
Okay.
There's duffel bag players. and they're suitcase players.
Okay.
You just got to figure out who's who and which is which.
Which is which. I feel you. I feel you, Shark.
Yeah,
I feel you, Shark.
That's how you explain recruiting.
Blue chips, them was
Yeah.
duffel bag players.
Duffel,
right?
yeah.
Briefcase players.
Yeah, it was duffel bag and briefcase.
I
You know
feel
that.
you.
I mean, that's the. If you're gonna do it, that's. I mean, that's the only thing you really can't trace.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
you can't trace cash. So, if you're gonna do it, that has to be the way you do it. But people think, you know, you just. For instance, they say, "Oh, I'm gonna give you 200,000." Well, they don't just necessarily throw you 200,000 the day you sign.
Right.
There's a way you get that payment. I ain't gonna break all that down, but
Come on now.
you know
Come on
there is
now.
a way you get it. It ain't. They don't give you that full whatever whoop de whoop at that time. You know what I'm saying? It's gonna be a couple days, you know, to make sure, because you know you be done said, "Hey, I'm coming here and be done skated
Right.
with their bread."
Right.
So they know the way to cover their tracks on their bread to make sure you do everything you say you gonna do.
And players flip all the time. What does a school do in that case? Players' minds change all the time. That maybe you gave a player a briefcase or something.
Now they probably gave him a paper sack.
But there you go.
They gave him a paper sack at
Yeah.
that time. They were gonna wait till he signed them papers before they gave him that duffel bag.
Right,
though.
right.
Yeah, they wasn't gonna do that. Now
But they know they're dealing with 18-year-olds and shit happens.
Yeah. Oh yeah. So
Yeah.
I mean, like I say, it what's understood don't mean it's like, yeah, they gonna break. You know, they got a little something, but they didn't get that real until they put their name on that paper where
Right.
they know they was coming, and they gonna make you show up. You know what I'm saying? You can't just show up, sign that paper. I'm a boop. Hit you that whole 300 or whatever we said, and
Hit him
then
with the James Harden.
and then you come with the portal that I don't really want to go here,
Yeah.
and you done hit me for my 300. Nah,
Yeah.
they ain't letting you do that. They ain't going for that okie doke.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But I mean, to some it does seem like blue chips because it can get like that. But them is the ones you get messy and you really get caught. I think the only reason we found out about this last one is because old boy had caught that case, and that was what he did that just to get out of trouble.
Right.
They had no idea this was going on like
Right.
this. Played like they didn't know. Let me say that. They acted like they didn't know this was going on.
Right.
Or they didn't have a whistleblower to let them know exactly what was going on. But of course, we all knew. But like I said, it's the elephant room where we all know. But hey, as long as they cover their tracks and ain't nobody out here just woofing or whatever, we good. But when Buddy got in trouble, he was like, hey, to get out of trouble, that was his game to be like, hey, the NCAA, hey, these schools is doing this, which is crazy that I wouldn't even thought to tell on schools. Like, but it is a federal crime. Like, oh, wow.
See, I mean, we've been having a problem with the way colleges do their business for a long, long time.
Yeah.
We just didn't know we knew they were doing some sketchy, salacious stuff, but federal, you know what I'm saying? Like, is it up to that level? Which also, once you take a step back and it's like, okay, well, government, if y'all knew that these movements were on a federal level, what y'all been dragging your feet for so long for?
Yeah.
But we know it's one hand scratches the other. They don't, they really don't want them to stop.
No. No. You can't listen. That entertainment, they love their entertainment on Saturdays and Sundays.
Oh, come on, man. This is money makers.
Ain't no better entertainment than that.
These politicians went to those schools.
Man, come on.
Come on now.
Yeah.
These folks running these same circles, man.
Boy.
That's why you ain't got to put nothing on paper.
Yeah.
We
it was
know.
funny because even when I was at Oklahoma State, man, what was our former governor? He used to ride with us all the time.
Keating?
He would ride the plane with us.
Yeah.
Yeah, he go. He was former governor. We go on the NCAA tournaments. He ride with us.
He right there with you.
Yeah, he ride with us.
Yeah, he's invested.
Yeah, hell yeah.
Yeah, they invested.
Believe that.
Whatever you say. Whatever you say. Whatever you say.
What's up, world? This is Ivory Towns of the Whatever You Say podcast. And first of all, let me thank you for whatever time you spent listening to, downloading, or sharing the podcast. Please continue to do so. And second of all, I got a deal for you. But do me a favor, roll down that window. Open the door, step outside. You feel that? That's called the Hawk. And it's coming. And for everybody in the Oklahoma City area, we don't get snow anymore. We get wind, ice, and power outages. So it's a perfect time to update that heating unit. And my peoples at Covington Heat and Air, perfect candidate. Over 20 years of knowledge and service, and they cutting deals. And all you got to do is call 405-568-9463. Just call Covington Heat and Air and let them know you heard them on the Whatever You Say podcast. And just like that, 10% off your update order. Until next time, people, Remember to download and subscribe and turn those notifications on. You call it the Whatever You Say podcast. Y'all be good.
Whatever you say. Whatever you say. Whatever you say. Whatever you say. Whatever you say.